Nigel Farage has done the unthinkable. A private urgent audience with King Charles called in haste, with tempers flaring and the future of British sovereignty hanging in the balance. Why? Because Prime Minister Karma just sold the soul of Britain to Donald Trump. All under the guise of a so-called trade deal. Let's be absolutely clear. This isn't a victory. It's a betrayal. A historic betrayal. And the country is waking up to it. The headlines might paint a rosy picture. Jobs saved, tariffs reduced, historic agreement. But scratch the surface and you'll see the truth. Karma has handed over Britain's backbone to the United States. Cheap beef, ethanol, and Boeing planes in exchange for a slap on the back from Trump and a few crumbs for British industries. And Nigel Farage, he's had enough. The voice of millions who feel ignored, who feel sold out, who feel like Britain has been reduced to a bargaining chip in a game played by globalists and career politicians. He's marching back to the front line. And this time he's taking it to the top. Farage demanded the audience with King Charles, not out of protocol, but out of desperation. Desperation to protect what little sovereignty we have left. Because what Star just signed away doesn't just impact trade. It's a direct assault on British workers, British farmers, and British values. Let's look at what we're actually getting. US beef and ethanol flooding British markets, but ministers swear there will be no downgrade in food standards. Really? Have they seen what's allowed in American meat? Hormones, chemicals, and practices banned for years in the UK now set to line up supermarket shelves. A temporary reprieve for car manufacturers. A cut in tariffs only for the first 100,000 cars. Britain exported 92,000 last year. So, let's not pretend this opens the floodgates for UK industry. It's a limit, not a lifeline. Tariffs on US goods remain. A flat 10% duty still sits on nearly all UK imports to the US. This wasn't a negotiation. It was a handout. And we were the ones handing over. And what did we get in return? British Airways buying American planes. Rolls-Royce engine parts exempt from US tariffs just so long as we keep feeding Boeing's bottom line. Meanwhile, the NHS stays untouched for now. But let's not forget that Trump's wish list has always had our health service near the top. And with future negotiations promised, nothing is safe. Let's talk about agriculture. 13,000 tons of US beef and 1.4 billion L of ethanol allowed into Britain duty-free. Tell that to our farmers. Tell that to the rural communities already struggling post-Brexit. This isn't protection, it's exposure. Our agricultural sector is being undercut by cheaper, lower-standard imports. Also, that Star can posture on the global stage and shake hands with Donald Trump on VE Day. VE Day. The symbolism is sickening. A day meant to celebrate victory against tyranny used to announce Britain bending the knee to a foreign power. And for Farage, he's not having it. The meeting with the king is not just symbolic. It's a shot across the bow. A message that this deal, this shameful one-sided deal, must be challenged, that the crowd must be made aware that the Prime Minister is acting without the will of the people. But it doesn't end there. Reform UK is rising and fast. Far's movement is picking up steam because people are done with the establishment. They are done with Labour, done with the Tories, done with broken promises and backroom deals. This isn't left or right anymore. It's the people versus the machine. And the machine just jammed a stick into its own gears. Senior Tories have already broken rank. Shadow Business Secretary Andrew Griffith said it plain. The UK got shafted. And he's right. This deal doesn't touch pharmaceuticals. Nothing on tech. Nothing on the NHS. Nothing on the 100% film tariffs. It's a haphazard patchwork designed to calm headlines, not fix trade. Star spin is shameless. Treasury Secretary Darren Jones practically admitted the deal was an ideal, just better than nothing. That's the bar now. Better than nothing. They talk about 150,000 jobs being saved, but it's fearmongering. Blackmail politics. Sign the deal or people starve. That's not leadership. That's hostage-taking. And Nigel Farage is calling it out for what it is. Capitulation. Farage knows what's really happening. He knows that the digital services tax still hits US tech giants. And Trump isn't done retaliating. He knows that pharmaceuticals, the NHS, and critical industries are next on the chopping block. And he knows that if Reform UK doesn't act now, it may be too late. This isn't just about tariffs. It's about who runs Britain. Because if this government is willing to bend over backwards for a deal that doesn't even eliminate Trump's tariffs, if they are willing to celebrate this raw deal on national television, what will they give up next? The people are watching. Reform UK is watching. And Nigel Farage, he's already moving. This urgent meeting with King Charles is a warning flare. A sign that constitutional alarm bells are ringing. That we are not just on the edge of a political crisis. We are already in one. Star sold us out. Trump cashed in. And the British public were left with slogans and spin while our industries are auctioned off and our sovereignty bargained away. But this isn't over. Not by a long shot. Farage is rising, reform is rising, and the days of backdoor deals and globalist appeasement are numbered. The question is, stay angry, stay aware, and stay ready because this fight is just beginning. In another news, Sadiq Khan has finally done it. The man who promised to defend London's green spaces, who swore to protect our environment, is now pushing ahead with a plan so reckless, so brazen that even seasoned critics are calling it an act of environmental vandalism. And standing right beside him, cheering him on, is none other than Angela Rayner. Yes, you heard that right. Sadiq Khan and Angela Rayner are preparing to concrete over London's iconic green belt. The same green belt that has for decades served as the lungs of the capital, the barrier between concrete sprawl and countryside. That's now in the firing line. Because according to them, it's not nice enough to protect anymore. Under this outrageous scheme, KHN wants to build tens of thousands of homes on protected land. Protected until now. What's his justification? He claims the Greenbelt isn't all beautiful countryside and insists it's low quality, poorly maintained, and rarely enjoyed. Apparently, if it doesn't look like the cover of a postcard, it's up for demolition. This is the same Greenbelt he used to defend. The same Greenbelt he promised voters he would never touch. But now, conveniently, he says the status quo is wrong. Suddenly, it's unsustainable. Suddenly, this man who's failed to meet housing targets for years wants to bulldoze open spaces to cover for his own incompetence. Let's be very clear, this isn't just a change in policy. This is a betrayal. A complete U-turn. A cynical, desperate move by a mayor who's out of ideas and backed into a corner. And who's applauding this betrayal? Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister in waiting, calling it a bold proposal. Bold? No, it's dangerous. It's short-sighted. It's a green light to bulldozers and concrete mixers. And it sets a terrifying precedent. KHN is now going further than the government's own grey belt policy. Land that's already considered low value. Instead, he wants to actively target large swathes of green belt land. The same areas he hammered with ULA's charges, punishing motorists for simply trying to live their lives, are now the next victims of his obsession with overdevelopment. City Hall is fuming. Tory leader Susan Hall didn't mince her words. She accused Khan of dancing to Labour's tune and sacrificing London's precious green spaces to appease his paymasters. And she's right. This isn't about solving a housing crisis. It's about politics. It's about power. It's about Labour flexing their muscles and rewriting the rules. How do you go from defender of the environment to destroyer of the green belt in just a few short years? Easy. You follow the Sadiq Khan playbook. Make bold promises, get the votes, then rip up your pledges the moment they become inconvenient. And here's the kicker. KHN already has the tools to fix the housing crisis. The Conservatives gave him £99 billion to build affordable homes. £9 billion. Where did it go? Why hasn't he used the brownfield sites already available, the sites he once claimed were more than enough? Andrew Boff, the Conservatives' planning spokesman, put it perfectly. This announcement is a complete betrayal of the public's trust. And when Khan says only 13% of the green belt is made up of public parks, ask yourself this. What's he planning to do with the other 87%? This isn't just a technical planning issue. This is an ideological war on open spaces, a war on community, a war on nature, and it's being led by a mayor who has utterly failed to deliver on housing, failed to support small businesses, and failed to listen to Londoners. Because here's what they won't tell you. This plan won't magically solve the housing crisis. It won't make homes more affordable. It won't help the average Londoner struggling to get by. No, this is about headline numbers, optics, political legacy. And in the process, KHN is willing to bulldoze the very spaces that make London livable. The footpaths where children play, the wildflower meadows and woodlands that provide peace, beauty, and clean air gone in the name of progress. And what happens when this becomes the norm? When other cities follow suit? When greenbelt protection is no longer sacred, but a suggestion? Once these spaces are lost, they are lost forever. You can't plant concrete. The arrogance is staggering. The contempt for ordinary Londoners is impossible to ignore because they know we didn't vote for this. We voted for clean air, open spaces, balance, not high-rises in every suburb and traffic-choked streets replacing woodlands. And yet, here we are watching in real time as Labour's top brass try to bulldoze their way to a legacy. Sadiq Khan doesn't want to fix the problem. He wants to hide it under a layer of tarmac and tower blocks. They'll frame this as courageous, as forward-thinking, but it's not. It's lazy, destructive, and deeply dishonest. It's the easy way out for a mayor who's run out of